Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today's video is a thrift with me, and then at the end I'm going to show you what I ended up buying, plus some other things that I got on a different time. I actually filmed this back in I want to say late January, maybe early February, and I just never edited it or uploaded it obviously until now, but I figured it doesn't really matter that it's a different time of year. So I guess we'll just get started. So we're at a thrift store called Frenchie's, which is, I think, maybe just on the east coast of Canada, which is where I live. It's like the biggest thrift store that we have here, like near where we live, I think, but it mainly is just clothing. But anyway, normally the first place that I go to look is in like the media bin, so like they really haven't had VHS, unfortunately. I think we probably just bought all of them. They haven't had it for a while, but they do have DVDs, so sometimes I find DVDs. Occasionally I'll find records. I really should not be buying any more records ever, but I feel compelled to look at them every time just in case I find one that's like amazing. If I don't look at them, I'll end up thinking about like, what if there was a Frank Sinatra record in there or something? So I usually just look through. John is actually a reseller on eBay, so he is in thrift stores like multiple times a week, every week, because he pretty much makes at least one sale every day, so he just usually goes to source things quite frequently. We also look in the like board game section often because I have a collection of like vintage board games that I really love. That Light Bright was actually not vintage, it was new, but I used to have one when I was a kid, so I brought back all of the memories. This thrift store isn't really my favorite, just because, like I said, it's mostly clothing. I mean, I do thrift all of my clothes, but I don't buy clothing that frequently, so I usually don't even look at the clothing when I go in there unless I've looked at everything else and then John is still not done looking yet. I'll look at the clothes just for the hell of it. But other than their clothing, they just have everything in bins and you really have to like root through it. It's just like not as exciting to me. But I will say I do find a lot of DVDs and a lot of like TV show DVDs at this place, and they're pretty cheap. I think they're like $5 or $6 for an entire season, so way cheaper than buying it new. I've been looking for an iron, and I regret it not buying that iron because I ended up buying almost the identical iron like from Amazon. The reason I didn't buy it is because I wanted to get like a vintage iron, which I did. I'm pretty sure in this video is when I end up seeing a bunch of vintage ones, but they weren't in the greatest of shape. They were almost like rusty looking on like the bottom part where you actually iron. So I just thought it's probably not the greatest idea to get something like that and then end up ruining clothes. So I just ended up buying a new one. But looking at that iron, I think it's the exact same iron. It wasn't expensive on Amazon or anything, but I think that one was in good shape, so I could have just bought it. But what do you do? Another area I do generally look is in the book section. Sometimes I will find like vintage cookbooks that I collect, or just other books. I pretty much never buy books new or anything. So it's definitely reasonably priced as well. But now we are in the Salvation Army, which I think is my favorite thrift store that's like available to me. I'm curious what your guys' favorite thrift store is. The reason that I love the Salvation Army is it tends to have a lot of old stuff. I'm guessing because it's probably a lot of older people that regularly donate there. I don't know. I've just always had really good luck at Salvation Army thrift stores. So, and their prices are really, really good, like insane sometimes, the things that I found. So this one is actually quite large. It's probably the biggest one that I've been in. In the town that we previously lived in, they just had a really tiny one that was mostly clothing, but they did have like a houseware section, which I have gotten a lot of good things there over the years, but this is like way, way, way bigger. So they have this kind of little aisle section that has all of the like appliance type things in it, and I love looking at the appliances, like old appliances. I feel like you always see like a million crock pots that are like really decorative and festive. It definitely reminds me of like the 70s and 80s, and I guess maybe the 90s too, but I feel like they're just a lot more plain now. So I think we are getting close to the part where I find the irons. So I actually did like quite a few of them, but they just, especially these ones, these like brown with the orange button, they definitely gave me like 70s vibes, which would have fit what I was going for, but they just, on the bottom part, it just looked a little too nasty. And so this was the day I realized that they had the Christmas room all year long, because like I said, this was either late January or early February, and like it was all still set up with a tree and everything. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I think I'm gonna end up just cutting out a lot of the footage from in here though, and some other time I will go in and film. I'm not used to filming and like thrifting at the same time, and I feel like it's just really like motion sickness, especially of what I filmed in here. So I'm just gonna cut the footage and we'll look at that some other time. They also had like a little Valentine's Day thing set up, because like I said, it was either late January, early February. I just filmed it from the Christmas room because it's right next to where the cashiers were, and I didn't want to like just walk out and be filming, because it's just really awkward when you live in a really tiny place and there's like not a lot of people around. It's just awkward when they're like, what are you doing? I thought this big bin of like old wallpaper and contact paper was pretty cool, but I didn't see anything that like jumped out at me that I would want to use. But I was heavily considering looking at those sewing machines, but I didn't end up doing it. Now, the Salvation Army also tends to have a lot of VHS, which we've been collecting this year, so I don't think we ended up buying a bunch this time, just a few, but we realized, I think, this trip that they were selling them for 16 cents a piece, so I think we ended up going back and getting a bunch more. I was actually just at the Salvation Army yesterday, and they barely have any VHS, so I think we pretty much like bought all of them, and they just haven't, been getting new donations. But again, compelled to look at the records. I was excited about that Dean Martin record, but turns out I already had the first one. But then I pulled out that second one because I wasn't sure if I had it or not, and it turns out I didn't have it and I didn't buy it. And now that I'm looking at this footage, I'm like, oh, I could have checked for that yesterday if I would have edited this video prior to that, but whatever. And the cool thing about this one was it was big enough upstairs, but then they were like, oh, we have a whole downstairs, which we didn't know about. I was heavily like considering getting this as well, but it's so hard when you get really old sewing machines, because like if you need to fix them, I don't know how to do that. I was really excited when I saw how big this room was and how many like shelves it had with like dishes and stuff on it, but it ended up not really being anything vintage at all or anything that I really liked. And I thought these plates were cute, kind of, but they're not vintage or anything. Also, I don't eat seafood, so would I have a reason to use them? Not really. I felt like it was mostly just things from like maybe the 90s, early 2000s looking kind of decor and glassware. But I did like that elephant. I have a few more of the same ones, but they all just wear different color bow ties. I did kind of like that juice pitcher as well, but I already have 3 or 4, I think. So I was like, do I really need another one? No, I do not. So I'm actually really good at restraining from buying things. Like I'll think about whether or not I really need it or what I'm gonna do with it when I get it home, or if I'll ever use it, and then that I can generally be like, I'm probably not going to. Again, it was all just pretty much like 90s, 2000s looking stuff that is of no interest to me. Although I did really like this glass. I have this really big collection of like cool vintage glasses. I should show you guys sometime because I've definitely found some really cool ones, but I'm sort of reaching the point where I probably shouldn't buy any more, but if I saw a cute one, I probably would. One of the reasons I don't film videos like this is, well, I usually just get really into thrifting, so I don't want to have to film at the same time, but the biggest reason is I hate when I'm editing the video and I'm like looking back at the footage and I'm seeing things that maybe I didn't notice while I was at the thrift store, or that I was second guessing myself about and I didn't end up getting. And then like this glass is one of them. When I see this footage, I'm like, oh, those are so cute, I should have got them. I love the smoked glass looking glasses. I have a bunch, but those were really cute and I kind of wish I would have got them. And since I was there yesterday, I could have checked if I would have known about it, but whatever. I thought these were kind of cute, but again, I have no use for them at all, especially the orange one more so than the grape one. But I don't think they're vintage though. I think they're just sort of meant to look vintage. But yeah, overall, I feel like for as much stuff was down here in this room, it was generally disappointing. And I didn't even go down there yesterday because we just forgot about it because we found so much stuff upstairs. But it was probably mostly all the same stuff still down there. Okay, so now I will show you what I ended up picking up. So I ended up picking this up. I have, I'm not 100% sure about it, but since it was so cheap, I just picked it up. I've been thinking about trying to collect these and add them to my kitchen wall, but I'm not 100% on it. But since it was so cheap, I figured I would just go ahead and pick it up. And then if I don't end up doing it, I can just always donate it or something. And I'm sure you probably already guessed that I was going to buy this glass. So I bought the glass. I actually have another one that's like similar to it. So that I think that's why I was really keen to buy it. But I probably should stop buying them. It's really bad. I find that to be like one of the hardest things with vintage things is everything's so cute. And I did end up getting this elephant, which I pretty much as soon as I saw it, I was going to. So I do not have this one. So I was excited to find that for only $1. I think they're meant to like hold jewelry, like put earrings in his ears and then over his trunk you could like put your ring or something. I just use them for decor. I don't actually use them for their intended purpose. I feel like these are probably maybe like 80s. It's kind of what it reminds me of, but I actually have no idea. I just think they're cute. And then I found this Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, which I was really excited. The only cookbooks that I collect are the Better Homes and Gardens ones, and I do have quite a few Betty Crocker ones because I feel like that's just quintessential, like 1950s. But I was excited to find this one because I didn't already have it. I was also really excited that it was actually from the 60s. I think I have them starting in the 50s, like up into the 80s, but the most common ones I see tend to be in the 70s, which is fine. I love the 70s, clearly. If you've seen my kitchen, you know that. But it's cool to find like some of the older ones. And to be honest, I love just looking through and looking at the photos. It makes me so happy. And then for the VHS I got, which I actually forgot that I got this VHS until I was looking at this footage. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. Which, oh, I can see it. For some reason, I didn't think it was on the shelf, but it's there. And then I got Casablanca, which I actually already had, but I had a different cover, and that's why it threw me off. I was like, I'm pretty sure I must have Casablanca, but it didn't look familiar at all, so I was like, I better get it just in case. So I think I might have kept this one and just donated the other one that I had. And I was so excited to find Bandwagon. So excited. I love this movie so much, and Oh, I've been finding so many classic films that I love on VHS, and it's just making me really happy. It's like one of my favorite things to do in life is watch old movies. And then I found this Clint Eastwood movie that I've never seen before, but anytime I see a movie that's like old that I think I would like or has somebody that I like in it, I'll just buy it. But I think it's a war movie. And then I found the Misfits, which I was super excited about. This is a movie, a Maryland movie that I rarely ever see like on VHS. Like I always see, Some Like It Hot, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, like all of those ones I see all the time, which I already have. But that one I was excited to find because it's such a different movie for her as well. And then I bought these little plastic like conversation heart I don't know, I guess you might put something inside them. I just thought they might be cute for like Valentine's decor. I don't really care for like what is written on them particularly, but I thought if I turned them around they might look cute too. I just thought they looked cute, and they were only 50 cents a piece, I think. And it felt like fast forward to like I didn't even decorate for Valentine's Day or Easter at all. I just was way too depressed to even care. But I'm definitely feeling better than I was at that time at the beginning of the year. So I'm looking forward to fall. It's my favorite time of year, like fall and then into Christmas. So I'll probably decorate for fall. I also got this little Ziggy stuffed animal. They used to make these in the 80s, I think, maybe before that, but I think they were really popular in the 80s. I had a bunch when I was younger, but they usually did different ones for different holidays. So whenever I see them, I usually buy them. They're usually pretty inexpensive. I think it was like $2 maybe. And then I bought this little Christmas magnet, and the reason I bought it, it's not vintage. I think it's just from the 90s, maybe the late 80s. But we actually, when I was growing up, had this on our fridge every year at Christmas. I think there was another one that we had too. These might have even come from Avon. And the reason I say that is because my mom, she sold Avon when I was growing up. So I feel like that's where we might have got it from, but I don't know, because we did end up getting a lot of things from Avon. And then I just bought these Christmas things for like Christmas crafting. I just saw them and thought if I wanted to do anything early, which, I mean, it's like the end of July when I'm recording this, so I'm guessing the stores will have Christmas stuff out like next month. And then I also got this Christmas book. I'm a really big fan of getting like coffee table books. I just find like it interesting, and I think John actually might have found this. And said, oh, we should get this maybe. So it just has a bunch of different things about Christmas in it. It's just interesting. And then this is something that I didn't actually thrift, but that John actually found when he was thrifting. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video that he is a reseller. So he goes to the thrift store like every time he goes out to do errands, he has to drive by. So he typically just goes in to see if they have anything that he could sell. So he bought this because he thought that I would probably like it, but that if I didn't like it, he could probably resell it. So it's this I Love Lucy board game, which is so cool and fun. It's in really, really good condition. And the thing that I loved about it, I probably wouldn't have kept it if it wasn't, but I hate when board games are like trivia games, and this one is not a trivia game, because anytime you have like a trivia game, everybody who's playing is going to have knowledge of like whatever game you're playing, like whatever show or movie or whatever. I just think it's stupid because unless you're playing with like a bunch of people who all have watched the show extensively enough to know like trivia about it, then it's just kind of stupid. But this one is not, so that was really cool. But I just thought it was neat, like the money and stuff. And this was actually, I think it's not like vintage or anything. Well, I don't know. I think it might have been from like 97 or 99. So I guess it's like over 20 years old. But yeah, I just thought it was really cute, and it's super sweet that he like thinks about that kind of stuff for me when he's out thrifting. We were very big Lucille Ball and I Love Lucy fans in my house. I think I might have mentioned this in my last video, but I've definitely seen every episode of I Love Lucy like many, many times since I was a child. I thought the board was super cute too. So we actually have a big collection of vintage board games that I should show you guys that sometime too, because I found such cool ones. We've actually found a game that we'd never heard of or played before, and it's now like our favorite board game. So it's definitely cool, but we've definitely found a lot from the 60s and 70s, and it's a really like cool looking aesthetic down there. We just keep them in our basement. Yeah, I'm showing you here. It was made in 97. So, I mean, I guess that's 25 years ago. Pretty crazy. This was like on a different day as well. I think we actually found 2 of these, which we were excited about, but then one broke in the car because we told them that they didn't need to wrap it for us, which was kind of dumb, but yep. And then I was super excited to find this season of Get Smart. I love this show as well. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. They would play it on like TV, like when we got home from school, I feel like. But I was really excited about that. I think I have another season too. And I was so excited to find a season of Quantum Leap. This was brand new, still sealed, and retailing for $60. I'm assuming this was like probably years ago that it sold for that much, but still, I think I might have already mentioned, but seasons of TV shows are generally only $5 or $6, I think, which is a pretty good deal. But I love this show. I want to start watching it with John, because he's never seen it before. And then I got these 2 picture frames. I've been looking for like kind of dark wood style picture frames for like a gallery wall that I'm making in like our hallway. So I was excited to find these ones because they were smaller than the ones that I've previously found, so they would like fit into the kind of leftover space, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I've just been trying to find them all in like the same sort of tone wood, and just sort of like squared and flat so that it's like looks kind of consistent. And I've just been getting these prints from Etsy. I've already hung them up since filming this months ago, and they fit in perfect with the space that was left, so it was a good find. Alright, so that is it for today's video for my thrift and my haul. I feel like I'm not the greatest at filming while thrifting, so I don't know how frequently I will do that again, but I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, and it wasn't too shaky. But I just want to also say thank you for so much love and support on my last video. It just really means a lot to me. So the next video I'm going to post is like what I'm calling a collective thrift haul, because it is just things that I thrifted. Like I think I already mentioned that I don't go thrifting that much, so I just kind of saved everything and kind of filmed it together. But I found a lot of cool stuff in that video, and I'll probably post that like in a few days from now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.